Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out of this world story from our space. My cheating wife freaked out and begged for forgiveness. She deserves what's coming. I discovered my soon to be ex wife cheating about 7 months ago. I went through all the heartache, the denial, the pain, the pick me attempts. I was seriously depressed for a long while. I never confronted her, but I was a total mess. She must have known I knew. She just didn't care, I guess. Or at least I assumed that. About 2 to 3 months ago, I was just done with it all. Done with her, done with the marriage. I just didn't care anymore. I completely checked out of the relationship and started preparing for divorce and my new life to come. I avoided my wife as much as possible. I tried to stay out of the house when she was home. I would not engage in conversation. When she asked me a question, I would only answer yes, no, or maybe, or I don't know. I even left the divorce lawyer's bills out in the open. She must have known I was checked out and preparing for divorce. Kids even asked me about it. Even they could see what was going on. I even did the "we both love you" speech. It's not your fault. Sometimes grown-ups can't be together anymore, etc. My wife was actually in the room and must have heard me talk to the kids. She didn't comment or object. I took her silence as consent. Anyways, a few days ago I met a girl I used to know in school, before I ever met my wife. We always had this tension between us, some kind of chemistry. We would always flirt and be touchy, but we never actually did anything about it. Let's call her Monica, because I think she looks like Monica Bellucci. Monica and her family moved away before I found the guts actually to do anything about it. I regretted that for a long time, but I was young, shy, and stupid. I haven't been thinking about Monica for a long time, actually. I haven't seen her for years. But as soon as we met, the tension between us was palpable, even more than I remember, and communication was effortless. She actually asked me out. I explained the situation to her with my soon-to-be ex-wife. I told her I wanted to be officially separated before I started dating. I wasn't going to cheat. Monica respected that. She gave me her number and told me to give her a call as soon as I was done doing what I had to do. She told me she never married, and she was really excited to get to know me again. I was even more excited. The encounter motivated me to finally confront my wife and officially get separation and divorce going. I was really happy when I went home and sat down waiting for my wife. I was actually grinning like a lunatic when I asked her to sit down and told her that we had to talk. I told her I've known about her cheating for a long time. I told her I assumed that she knew I knew, especially since I checked out of our relationship for the last 3-ish months. She didn't seem to mind that I no longer cared. So, I told her that I wanted to start dating and get on with my life. I concluded my speech with, "All taken into consideration, it's time for us to get divorced. Don't you agree?" Her reaction was totally not what I expected. She started crying. Not just regular crying either. Like a desperate soul breaking noise. I have never heard anything like it. She was blabbering excuses, asking for second chances, that the affair didn't mean anything. We could fix this if we try counseling, etc. I was a bit shocked. I thought she would be happy. I told her she could go and be with this guy without guilt. He is obviously more important to her than her family. If he wasn't, why go with him in the first place? She must have known this would destroy us. She can't possibly be that stupid, can she? I told her if she believed we needed to fix our family or our marriage, the time to do that would have been 7 months ago, before she had the affair. Now, it's too late. It's broken beyond repair. I don't think we had any problems in our marriage. She didn't talk to me and I am not a mind reader, so whatever it was, I had no way of fixing it. Since she started this affair with the other guy, she obviously thought something was wrong or missing. Something that was so wrong that it couldn't be solved by talking to me. Something had to be so lacking or so wrong that she was okay with having our children grow up in a broken home from there on in. If not, why do it? I clearly and calmly explained that there is no way for her to un-F this guy for the last 7 months. And there is no way to undo the pain and suffering she caused me. The pain she caused that made me arrive at this point of basically being indifferent. Or actually, I kind of hate her guts. I'm simply being civil for the sake of being able to co-parent our children in the future. I told her I didn't believe she even cared about me. No person that cared even a little for someone else would put them through this kind of pain. They would not betray them in such a way that she had done. Her telling me that she loves me has no meaning or credibility because her actions conclusively prove otherwise. She became completely incoherent at this point. I could not make heads or tails of anything she's saying. It's just a jumbled mess. In the end, I had to call her sister. Because honestly, I wasn't going to take care of her. Her sister showed up, and after I explained what was going on, she took her away. I felt tremendous relief when they were gone. Like I could finally breathe for the last time in 7 months. I don't know what I'm looking for here. She must have known this was going to happen. She must have wanted it. She can't possibly be that stupid that she thinks this behavior, these choices she made, would result in anything other than divorce and a broken family. She is beautiful. She is smart. Our marriage was great up until she started her affair. I have accepted the life changes. I have moved past it. Now, she's pretending that she loves me? That she wants us to remain married and a family? What could possibly be her motivation to have this major drama at this point? What could she gain? I mean, she couldn't possibly expect us to try to reconcile at this point, could she? It must be some kind of ploy. I just can't figure out what the F it is. I have lots of evidence of her cheating. I live in a European country, and this would mean no alimony or anything for her. Could that be it? Is she afraid I will out her? Could that be it? She wants me to feel sympathy so I don't tell people about what she did? Her affair partner is married, so maybe she's scared I will tell his wife? I just can't get my head around it. Anyway, I just had to get this out of my head. I was hoping it would make more sense typed out. But no, I am just as confused now as when I started this rant. The cult of Abe Lincoln thinks, you absolutely should tell his wife that he is cheating on her. I believe it's a sign of respect as a kindred spirit whose soul has been crushed by infidelity. I guarantee you will cause her pain, and I almost as much guarantee she will thank you for it. You have to think it's all about the kids at this point. I would strongly encourage you to focus on being the best father, and no matter how much it hurts, not to allow them to see that their mother has ripped your guts out and stomped on them. Kids are smart. They'll figure it out. Be the best man you can be for them. You'll regret doing anything less. As for Monica, hey, she sounds really cool. And she's understanding of what you have going on, which is awesome. I would advise strongly against rushing into anything, however. You have a massive variable changing, your marriage obviously, and it may be best not to upset the equation with another. I have seen many men sign up for the first replacement they can find, and most came out worse for wear. That said, you sound like you two have a great chemistry and history, so best of luck. After all, it sounds like she's willing to be patient, so why not? You'll regret it if not. Lastly and most importantly, dude, you owe nobody an explanation or apology for how you handled this. It's heartbreaking to learn your trust has been so badly misplaced and then have to confront the massive black hole in front of you. Your wife completely betrayed her family, and you were completely correct in thinking she, at least subconsciously, was willfully breaking apart her own family. The OP responds, thank you for your advice. I'm leaning towards telling the affair partner's wife. Thank you for your advice on the kids as well. I was already very focused on that. This is going to be hard for them, so I will do everything I can to be there for them whenever they need me. Update. My cheating soon-to-be ex-wife confuses the hell out of me. So, first of all, thank you to everyone. It's been overwhelming in many ways. I haven't had a chance to answer everyone, but I have tried to read everything. I posted 3 days after the conversation with my soon-to-be ex-wife, and I had hardly slept. Actually, I passed out reading messages on my computer. When I woke up the next day, I had an interesting keyboard pattern on my face and a much clearer mind. I decided to make some lists. For and against on the key points. I put a bunch of papers on the wall. I made a headline on each of them. Our kids, how to behave when meeting the wife, my marriage, Monica, questions to ask my wife, etc. The final document is too big to retype here, so I will just cover some of the main points. My goal was trying to figure out what core principles I wanted in place and what are the most important things that I wanted to focus on. Then, I went through each of those and evaluated whether or not I would actually be able to achieve anything meaningful from it, and what would be a meaningful result in the case I got anywhere. As for the kids, they are my number one priority. I will increase my efforts to help them deal with this. More individual counseling, family counseling. I will arrange trips and spend more quality time together and make new memories. I will also involve the rest of my family on my side to drown them in love and help them through this. I will also talk to their teachers, coaches, etc. I want to make sure their support system is immediate and everywhere. I got an STI test, and I've also booked a DNA testing of the kids. Just thinking they may not be mine makes me very uncomfortable. But I have to make sure for their sake. If they're not mine, maybe there is some medical history they need to know about. What if they want to reach out to the real father when they get older? How will they see me if I don't act now to make sure? Hopefully they are mine, and I will be stressed until I get it confirmed one way or the other. After talking alone to their therapists first, they joined us and we explained everything carefully and let them ask as many questions as they wanted. I repeated over and over and over again that they could come to me with anything. I am their dad. I love them more than anything, and I will always, always be there for them. Whatever they need, no matter what. As for my marriage, I came to the conclusion that I can never trust my wife again. Without trust, it's not possible to have a relationship. I also came to the conclusion that I do not love my wife. I don't love the person she has become. My love for her used to be a very big part of me, but she killed that with the affair. It totally changed my perception of her. Maybe I could learn to love her again, but to be able to do that, I would have to want that. And to be honest, I don't want to. Better to end it and get on with our lives. I no longer want this marriage. I don't want our relationship. I don't want her. The part of me that loved her, the part of me that used to feel endless joy and happiness when thinking about her, that now fills me with dread and memories of pain. Actually, any thought of association with her causes me serious discomfort at the moment. Divorce is inevitable, I think, and I want to get it done as soon as possible. As for Monica, I talked to her a lot. I had some concerns based on the feedback I had here on Reddit. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea to jump into a new relationship. I also didn't want to bring her into my mess. And let's face it, my life is a total mess at the moment. She disagreed. She said life is messy. Might as well see how we deal with that together while dating. I found out why she never married. She was engaged, actually. Her fiancé died unexpectedly in a work accident almost 5 years ago. This devastated her, and even though she had gone on a few dates since, she had not been able to form a connection with anyone. From her perspective, life is short and you have to take risks whenever a true opportunity presents itself. I explained how I don't want to start anything until after the divorce is official. I don't want to cheat while I'm technically married. She agrees and respects that. I also talked about how it could be perceived if we all of a sudden were an item out in the open for everyone to see. It would be easy to try to frame her as the homewrecker. I don't want that. She agreed, and we will wait a little bit after it's official until we do anything. I feel incredibly drawn to Monica. This phone call is a borderline emotional affair in my mind, so I will not contact her again until I am done with legal separation. We agreed that I would get my affairs in order and contact her when I was ready, and we would see what to do then. When it came to planning the meeting with my wife, I wrote down some principles on who I want to be. I would make every effort in my meeting with her to try to be that man, the man I used to be before all this. I decided I needed to stay calm. I would make every effort not to be cruel. I would keep in mind that all the purpose of this conversation was to move on with our life. The purpose was to be able to co-parent as good as possible for our kids. Still, I prepared a list of questions to try to understand her thinking to have this affair. And also, what was she thinking about moving forward? I'm not going to be deceitful. I was not going to give her false hope that there was a chance to reconcile, just to get a postnup or some benefit in divorce. I have decided to act as fairly as possible. I will divide all assets with her equally. We will have 50-50 custody. Even though she has acted terribly towards me, I will not use her as a role model. I will act so I can stand by my actions today, tomorrow, and 20 years from now. I hate her for what she did to me, what she did to us, to our children, but I love the memories of the good times we had together, while it lasted. And I love our children that we created and raised together. I will try to remember her in this light moving forward, not her cheating. I can't carry hate in my heart, so at some point, I need to forgive her so I can move on. Up until the point she cheated, I think we had a very good marriage. We would make love every day. We spent a lot of quality time together. We hardly ever argued. We sacrificed for each other willingly. I was actually very open with her up until I discovered her infidelity. I believe she was open with me as well, but now her actions show this is not to be the case. So Saturday came and I went to see her. Her sister had warned me that she was not in good shape. She was not wrong. My soon-to-be ex-wife looked absolutely horrible. Bloodshot eyes, swollen face, unkempt hair. She looked many sizes smaller than I remember, like she had imploded into herself. I doubt she has slept or eaten much this week. We all sat down and my wife was shaking almost uncontrollably. I felt surprisingly calm. I felt for her obvious pain, but not as a loving spouse. I felt for her pain like I would feel for an actor in a movie I was engaged in. I don't know how to explain the feeling really. It confirmed that I probably don't love her anymore. I just sat there and waited for her to collect herself enough to speak. She started several times, but would break down crying. Watching her, it's clear it's not an act. I have seen her cry many times before, but never like this. I guess people can fake cry, but I doubt anyone can fake the look of crying nonstop for a week, mixed with soul-torturing sobs and giant snot bubbles. When she finally started talking, it was like a dam burst. She apologized every second word. Surprisingly, she didn't try to excuse herself or shift the blame to me. Her sister cried as well, and would from time to time berate her. It also became clear that her sister had warned her this would happen. Hey, hey, hey. Time for the out-of-this-world story from our space. Sometimes people only let you see what they want you to see. Today on our space, an influencer's truth gets her canceled. Wife cheated on me and told the affair partner I would never leave her, but I did. Hi guys, I'm 28 male. About 3 weeks ago, I discovered that my wife of less than a year, Bianca, 27 female, had been cheating on me. When Bianca and I started dating, she told me she had recently broken up with her ex-boyfriend, whom she had dated for 3 years and was currently single. I was also single then, and had not dated for 2 years because my previous relationship left me scarred. Since we both had been hurt from our last relationship, Bianca and I promised to never cheat or do anything that would hurt each other. I knew I would keep to my end of the promise, and hoped Bianca would do the same. We dated for 2 years and some months before we got married. Being with Bianca brought me the most happiness out of all my exes. She was a natural humorist and always had a way of making people around her smile. The first few months of our marriage were filled with laughter and fun. I always looked forward to being with her. While Bianca was a social media influencer and had her own online store, I worked as a data analyst for a big tech firm in our town. I'll admit that there were days when my job was so demanding that I didn't spend enough time with Bianca as promised. In a month, I would miss our dates twice because I was either overwhelmed with completing a task at the office or completely forgot we were supposed to attend a function together. Each time this happened, I tried to make it up to her, which would settle it. Her favorite chocolate was Snickers, and gifting her a box of Snickers or a few bars would always make her happy. 6 months after we married, my company allowed me to work 3 weeks remotely and 1 week on site. When this happened, I was glad I could finally spend more time with Bianca since her social media influence was something she didn't remotely. She was also happy when I told her about my new work schedule, and things started returning to how it was for us. Within the first 4 weeks I started working remotely, I noticed something off with Bianca. I knew always being on her phone was part of her job as an influencer, but I noticed something else. Every time Bianca was on her phone and I walked close to her, I saw she would quickly change the app she was on and it would switch to something else. Even though I wasn't standing next to her, I could tell what she did by her body and finger movements. Aside from that, she became secretive with her laptop, and each time she heard my voice or I walked in her direction, she would close the laptop and pretend she wasn't using it. Everything had always happened so fast, but she never knew I had been observing her. One day, when I couldn't take it anymore, I confronted her about it. She said that I was being ridiculous and that she had nothing to hide from me. That day, she was doing something on her laptop and she even asked me to come and take a look to clear my curiosity. I did, and there was nothing suspicious about it. She even showed me her conversations with all her social media accounts, which were strictly work conversations. In the 2 years and some months Bianca and I had dated, that was the first she allowed me to read her chats. While we dated, we used to have access to each other's phones, but I never checked or went through her chats with her clients because I felt it was confidential. I had no reason to even go through them. I trusted her, but after she showed me the conversations by herself, I strongly felt something was amiss. It was very unlike her to show me the activities on her laptop or her phone conversations on her own. Maybe she thought she could mislead me by showing me the conversations she wanted me to see, but I didn't fall for it. I could quickly tell when someone was acting shady, and with all the stories I had read here on Reddit, I couldn't ignore the feeling that Bianca was hiding something from me. Some days passed, and I didn't mention the issue of her being sneaky with her phone and laptop again. I kept watching her to be sure I wasn't making false allegations before taking action. A few days after the confrontation, Bianca had a few of her influencer friends over a small get-together at our place. We all had a great time together, but Bianca was a bit distracted. Even when everyone was eating, laughing, and having a nice time together, Bianca kept texting someone between meals. It happened numerous times that even her friends noticed. One of them was forced to ask her whom she kept texting. When she looked up and saw everyone's eyes were on her, she dropped her phone on the table, faked a smile, and said it was work-related and she was done. No one said anything after that, and we all continued to eat. After the guests were gone and we were cleaning up, Bianca brought up the topic of the client she kept texting all the while during the evening. She said the client wanted her to be his brand ambassador for a skincare product and promote his product for a year. Now, this is a very normal conversation to have with your spouse, but it wasn't normal for us because Bianca never discussed her clients or what they wanted her to do for them. Regarding our profession, she just did her thing, and I did mine. So, her starting a conversation about her client felt off to me. It was almost like she was trying to give an excuse for her action before I asked her about it. I didn't say much after she did. I only smiled and pretended to be a part of the conversation. Meanwhile, 1,000 thoughts were already running through my head. I already knew I wouldn't find anything on her phone or laptop that could show she was cheating on me, as I suspected. But I came with the idea of listening to her conversation. There's this app that allows you to see what another person is doing on their phone, listen to their conversations, and see their messages. To do this, I had to install the app on my phone and her phone. That way I could listen to her calls and see everyone she chatted with. The reason I was so jumpy to find out if Bianca was cheating on me, even when she didn't act strange around me or change her attitude towards me, was because I had been cheated on in my last relationship. And even though I told Bianca I loved her and believed she wouldn't cheat on me, a part of me was still looking for cheating signs. I consciously read meaning to everything, even when it was normal, because I didn't want to ignore the red flags as I did on my previous relationship. After successfully installing the app on both our phones, I started my investigation. Truly, Bianca was always chatting with her clients, but there was someone else she chatted with every day, and she was careful enough to not call him or take his calls whenever I was at home or we were together. 2 days after I paired my phone with Bianca's phone, she spoke with him for the first time. And the funny thing was, she had known him for years. He was the same ex-boyfriend she told me she had broken up with. When I listened to their conversation for the first time, it was clear that the guy knew Bianca was married and I worked from home. That evening, Bianca sent me outside to get some groceries because she had forgotten to pick some of them. I was driving to the grocery store when they had that call. He asked Bianca about me, and she told him that I had gone to get groceries. She told him that she pretended to forget the groceries on her way back, so I would go and get them and give him enough time to talk on the phone. The fair partner was kind enough to tell her to be careful, so I wouldn't catch her, and Bianca said, "Oh, Jackie would never leave me. He loves me too much to leave me. Poor thing." And after she said that, they laughed and continued to talk about how they would meet later that evening. After listening to all of their conversations, I returned home in anger. When I got home, Bianca asked why I didn't get the groceries again. I lied that I got a call from the office to come and submit something urgently, and she bought it. By the time I got home, she was already dressed and had her makeup on. She told me she was going to hang out with some of her girlfriends and would be back before midnight, then kissed me on the cheek like she was being truthful and left. As soon as she left, I called one of my friends and told him what I had found out. He offered to come with me to the restaurant Bianca and her boyfriend were going to. When we arrived at the restaurant, we saw Bianca cuddle up with her boyfriend while he was trying to feed her. I just walked up to her, ensured that she saw me, and I walked out of the restaurant. Everything happened so fast, and her facial expression showed she was shocked to see me there with my friend. Immediately, I walked out of her. She got up from her table and followed me. At first, she wanted to pretend she hadn't done anything wrong, but when she saw my friend recording her, she knew she had been busted. As I expected, she came up with an excuse that she had come to meet with her client and that it wasn't what it looked like, but I didn't say a word to her. My friend and I drove back home, and Bianca arrived shortly after we got home. She came into the house and tried to talk to me, but I was more focused on picking my clothes. We jointly rented the apartment, so I couldn't kick her out even if I wanted to. Instead, I took the stuff I needed and left with my friend that night. Since that night, Bianca has been sending me multiple messages and calling me repeatedly. After weeks of not taking her calls, she sent voice notes of yet another series of lies. She said that her ex-boyfriend, whom she was cheating with, wanted to connect her with a big client, hence she went to meet him. But somehow she felt cold because of the tiny strap gown she wore, and he tried to cover her. This was supposed to explain why they were cuddling each other, and she thought I would buy it. Until now, she doesn't know that I paired our phones, and I still see the conversation between them. Just 3 days ago, I made a recent discovery. There's a contract that Bianca has been doing for more than 2 months now, where the pay is great. Her fair partner was one of the employees of the brand which she wasn't promoting. This means there was an iota of truth in what she said. I also found out they had been bad-mouthing their company's products. I guess their love rekindled when he came back into the picture. Now the thing is, I'm so sure Bianca is not supposed to be involved with any of the company's staff for bad-mouthing the company. If the organization finds out, her contract will be terminated and her image will be tarnished. Regarding the video my friend made, I haven't posted it online as intended because I have mixed feelings about it. For the past years, Bianca has maintained an excellent public image, and even though she gets dragged online by some of her annoying fans, she has not had any serious issues with the brands she influences. Right now, I'm going through so much emotionally, and I want to repay her for using me like that. I intend to leak the conversation between Bianca and her boyfriend and the video of them together. I hope no one will try to advise me against my plans because my mind is already made up. Most times, I wonder why people get married in the first place because a lot of women are not worth the sacrifices we, men, make for them. In Bianca's case, I thought we would build a family together, but it turned out she's just like every other woman out there who wants to eat her cake and have it. I'm sorry, OP. It's funny how they always say it's never what it seems, even if their lips are literally on someone else's. And why say all these tremendous lies when she was caught red-handed? There's no point. Lying only makes it worse. Honestly, if you've made your mind up, why would you have mixed feelings about sharing the video? Everything people post on social media is only a fraction of the truth. Maybe it's time people know who the true Bianca is. Update 1. Hello everyone. Thank you for your comments. It's sad that I am only finding out from your comments that influencers have a high infidelity rate. I married Bianca because she looked like she was the one. Besides that, I fell in love with her personality, not her profession, and we dated for almost 3 years. Also, I took my time with her before we married to get to know her well, and I thought I knew her well enough before marrying. She told me she had cut off ties with her ex-boyfriend and would never have anything to do with him again. even if he were the last man on earth. Her words. I guess I was dumb to fall for her words. My only joy is that I took action immediately after I started suspecting her. Maybe if I still wanted to be the good husband who showers his wife with enough benefits of doubt, I would still be stuck with her now and would be innocently helping her pick the perfect outfit for her girls' night out. So, for my revenge plan, I had posted the video of Bianca and her affair partner, captured at the restaurant, where they were cozily snuck into each other. The video was not received well by her fans who called her a cheater. I also leaked the conversation between Bianca and her lover where they were bad-mouthing the brand. The good news is that the company she influenced has terminated their contract with her, and her boyfriend has been fired too. Also, Bianca and her boyfriend had been saying all forms of bad things about a particular product she was promoting, and they talked about how the company had been ripping people off with their substandard product. Bianca was forced to make an online apology. She had to take back everything she said, and then had to deal with the company afterward. When this happened, it not only ruined her reputation with the company that fired her, but also caused a ripple effect with her other contracts. Other brands had to end their contract with her because of how her video and chat spread like wildfire. Because of this, she was literally left with nothing at the end of it all. As if ruining her influence or reputation was not enough, the headlines carried her name about the video of her cheating on her husband. It was so satisfying to have friends call and ask if what they saw online was true, and I assured them that it was. Also, before I shared the video and conversation online, I sent it to her parents. I told them it was officially over between Bianca and me. I also said some crappy things about Bianca and how she was a disgrace to herself and womanhood. Then I blocked both of their numbers from calling. 2 days ago, Bianca showed up at my office and created a scene. I told security I wouldn't see her, but she refused to leave. She wasn't even allowed into the building, but she kept yelling my name and was kicked off the property. Serves her right. Since that evening, I moved out of the house. I haven't seen her face to face. I had only been following her on Facebook and Instagram to see how messed up everything had been for her. Thank you, everyone, for your kind suggestions and advice. I will make another update soon. Honestly, yeah, if she's supposed to be influencing people, I think people deserve a right to know who they're following. I'm sorry she turned out to be a complete stranger. Update 2. Hello, everyone. Thank you for your comments. It's been a week and some days since I made the last update. I know I wanted to wait till after the divorce was settled, but something happened yesterday and I want to share it. Bianca found out that I was the one who leaked the conversation and video online. Maybe her parents told her, but I'm not sure. She was livid when she came to my friend's house, where I was crashing after leaving my apartment. When Bianca came, she started yelling that I had ruined her life and promised she would destroy mine too. She said so many horrible things. One of them was that she regretted marrying me and claimed she didn't know what she saw in a lowlife like me to marry me. She said many rude things and became violent when she saw my friend recording her again. Because of her anger, she picked up a huge stone from my friend's lawn and threw it at the window from where my friend was recording her. The stone cracked the window, and my friend's phone fell while he hurried to pull his hand inside the house. I was so furious and went outside to confront her. In the process of us yelling at each other, she brought out a small penknife and slashed all 4 tires of my car in my presence. Then she used the knife tip to scratch a long line from the front door to the back door and said, "Well, how do you like your new car?" Then she left. I've never been so angry in my life. Right now, I cannot move my car unless I changed all 4 tires, and I cannot drive the car around with a long scratch mark. My friend insisted that I sue her in court, and he had everything recorded from inside the house. He will also be suing her for the damage to his window, and he isn't even joking about it. I have decided to sue Bianca because I cannot let her get away with the damage she did. She will pay every penny it costs to replace all tires and spray paint my car. Concerning her social media presence, she has been very quiet lately. The rave about her infidelity and bad-mouthing the brand she was promoting has gone down, but she has not been making her Instagram live videos, reels, and other things she used to. I also forgot to mention that many people unfollowed her.
My wife of 11 years and I joined a weight loss program, shedding pounds and gaining fitness, only for my wife to flex her disloyalty. After I walked in on her full-body workout with her personal trainer, I divorced her and got him fired.
Before we start, text the like button from an unknown number saying, "Enjoy the next 24 hours." Warning: the following story will be upsetting to cheaters.
Oh boy. Here we go. English is not my native language, but I'll do my best. I'm a 44-year-old man married to my 39-year-old soon-to-be ex. We've been married for 11 years, no kids. We were a pretty chubby couple until 2 years ago when I had a blood test done and it came out that I was prone to contracting diabetes, gout, and hypertension. It really scared me. so we both bit by bit started to dedicate ourselves to a very healthy lifestyle. I went from 117 to 85 kilograms, and my wife, let's call her Jane, from 83 to 65 kilograms. We felt great, and needless to say, I never developed those diseases. We attended to a gym almost daily in the afternoon, where a coach worked. Let's call him Baldy. When my wife started getting in shape, I noticed most guys turned to see her. I felt so proud of her. She is fairly busty, and she has these magnificent long-toned legs. When Jane and I were regulars at the gym, I noticed she was enjoying the attention she got from men. Of course, Baldy wasn't the exception. I noticed Baldy likes to check women's butts like a sport. I've seen him doing it several times, and he likes to show off how ripped he is. Once we were using the elliptical machines. In front of them, there is a cable machine. Baldy took off his t-shirt and started doing crossovers. I turned to Jane with my face of, "Can you believe this guy?" But she was staring at him, and I saw she wet her lips. I saw Baldy noticed, and I swear he was grinning. I felt humiliated. I was getting in shape, but I am not as muscular and fit as he is. When we were driving home, I made a comment about Baldy showing off, and Jane said, "Really? I didn't notice." I told her, "You were staring." She said, "I don't remember. I must have been thinking about something else." I shrugged it off and kept driving. But from there on, I noticed they were talking more frequently at the gym. Some weeks later, Jane was doing squats using the Smith machine. Suddenly, Baldy went to help her. Isn't he nice? He grabbed her by the waist, and I got angry. She finished the first set, and I got there and told him, in a not-so-nice way, "I got it from here." Baldy just smiled and told me, "No probs, buddy." He calls everybody buddy, and walked off like a triumphant pigeon. Jane knows me very well, and when she heard my angry tone, she said, "My God, OP." I told her, "We'll discuss this at home." At home, drama blew up. She called me immature and jealous. I told her I noticed he was trying to get into her pants. She said that she knows that he's trying to, but she would never cheat on me. I asked, then why she let him touch her, and she said she didn't want to be rude. Seriously? About an hour later, arguing, we agreed to change gym. So we went to another place to exercise, but Jane was resentful at me in the following months. Her argument was that I don't trust her. On the third month after we changed gym, a very good opportunity opened up in my job, but in the afternoon. We discussed it, and I took it, so we had to attend the gym at different hours. I went in the morning and Jane in the afternoon. This is when it all went south. Jane's resentment increased, and we barely spoke. I send her messages telling her about my day, that I miss her, memes, but she rarely replied or just sends the typical, "Yes, okay, same here, ha ha ha." I was very worried and proposed couple therapy. She said I was the one who needs therapy because I'm the one with trust issues. I agreed. I was so desperate to fix our marriage that I thought it was all my fault. So the following year, 2022, I went to therapy, but Jane's behavior didn't change. We weren't intimate anymore because she never was in the mood. I had to shift gear. I snooped to her phone but didn't find anything out of the ordinary. I looked into her car for a second phone. Nothing. I checked her phone again to see her map history. It only showed me the GPS locations: house to work, house to the gym, back to the house. Whenever I tried to talk to her, she just said she feels that she's having a 40s phase. It'll pass. I never had any evidence of cheating, so I continued working, grinding and worrying. We live in a condo. The security guard, a very cheerful man called Mr. P, greeted me. We chat a lot. He was touching his shoulder and told me yesterday he had to move a heavy sofa, and he has some pain today. I was sympathetic to his pain, and as we were discussing it, he dropped the bomb. "Maybe you can arrange a meeting with your massagist." I told him, "Who?" He said, "The guy who came yesterday to massage Mrs. Jane." It took me a second to process this. I told him, "Do you have a video of him?" I think he noticed I was pale and hurried to show me. Guess who? Baldy, of course. He has come a few times to massage my wife. I took the day off and started investigating. I asked a coworker for his car, and I followed Jane in the afternoon. She parked her car at the mall where the gym is, and there he is. Baldy, waiting for her. They giggle and behave like an actual couple. Kisses, hugs, the whole shabam, and I feel myself being torn from the inside out. They walk a couple of blocks and go into a residential area. I tried to follow them with my phone ready to record, but the guard stopped me and asked, "Can I help you?" I just said, "What a nice couple, do you know them?" He said he thinks they are newlyweds but can't tell me anything else. I called Jane, but she never answered. I went to her car in the mall and wondered why that place doesn't show on the map. I dial again and I can hear her phone inside her car. That's why. I also found out Jane hasn't attended the gym in 8 months. I didn't know that the previous night was the last day I slept with Jane in the same bed, but now I'm sure of that. I returned the car and went home and called my parents. Fortunately, my dad answered and I told him everything. I was crying and he comforted me and told me, "Get evidence." Obviously, my marriage is over, and I need all I can gather while he'll contact one of his friends who is an excellent divorce lawyer. Jane called me when she saw the 2 missing calls. I just told her I was already at home and she told me,
I'm on my way from the gym. My butt is killing me.
"Yeah, I can guess." When she saw me, she asked,
What happened? Why did you cry?
I don't know how, but I was mentally focused. I smiled and told her I got the flu. That's why I left work early. "Don't come near me. It might be the bug, and I'll be tested first thing tomorrow. I'll sleep in the spare room." She agreed. I was hurting silently and didn't sleep a wink. Nearly midnight, I heard her giggling. I guess she's messaging Baldy, but I didn't find any evidence of contacting another man. Then it hit me. Why didn't I see it earlier? I bet her affair partner is disguised as one of her female co-workers. In the morning, while Jane was in the shower, I took her phone and created a session in my laptop and put her phone back in the same place. We both can unlock our phones. The session works while the phone is close to my laptop or in the same Wi-Fi account. Then I saw it. Under a female name, the profile picture was a dumbbell. I entered and most of the conversations were deleted. I guess they use work words as code in case I snooped. "Can you deliver the papers on my desk?" I know she doesn't have a desk at work. "Going to the meeting, where are you?" On top of them, "Boss is in his office. He's clueless." Pretty clever, that one. I guess I am boss because I know her boss is a woman. Jane got out of the shower and saw me. She said,
You look worse. Why don't you stay with your parents?
I denied the idea, thinking of getting evidence. After Jane went out, I contacted my dad, and he gave me the name and number of the lawyer. I called him and explained everything. He told me the captions I took from my laptop are useless. They don't have any factual evidence since Baldy's name isn't used as her affair partner, and she was smart enough to leave pieces of conversation that looks pretty innocent. I can take pictures of them at the mall, but she can argue they are just good fellas, and I can't invade into the residential area without permission, because it might get me into more trouble. At work, I was in zombie mode, thinking how to get evidence. I might install secret cameras in my house, but Baldy rarely goes to my home and Jane might find them. Unless I'm out of the picture. I texted Jane and told her I'm positive of the bug and I'll stay at my parents' because I might need help. She liked the idea and told me she would miss me, but she'll call me every day. When I hung up, I called my dad and my brother. When I got home, she had already packed a suitcase for me. She was so eager of getting rid of me. I told her I'll take my laptop, and then I checked her messages. "Boss will be out of the office. Want to come to my desk?" She sent this message almost directly after I told her I was positive to the bug. "Good," she bit. We didn't have dinner, no kisses, no hugs. I noticed her watching her Apple Watch twice. From the door I told her, "I'll miss you." I was expecting her to shut the door on my face, but she walked me to my car, and I was gone. My dad and brother were outside the building waiting for Baldy to appear, but he didn't show up. After half an hour, I thought, why did she walk me to my car? Of course, because Baldy was already inside the building waiting, perhaps inside her car. It would be very suspicious if her massagist came at this hour. I came back, hurried to my house, and entered silently. I heard music coming from the bedroom and the moaning. Next to the door there is a sofa. His and her clothes were on it. I put my phone to record and opened the bedroom door, and there she was. My wife, the love of my life for 11 years in all four, and Baldy behind her. I got a very good seconds of both of their shocked faces when they saw me open the door. Jane screamed and covered herself with the blanket. Baldy went alpha male, immediately walking naked towards me. I took a dramatic shot of him wearing no protection. He yelled aggressively at me,
"Why don't go for a walk, buddy?"
I hit his throat with my hand opened. I saw this movement in the Mel Gibson movie, Ransom. The next second, Baldy was coughing and gasping, kneeling on the floor. I yelled, "Get out of my house," and kicked him out. I threw his clothes at him when my dad, brother, and Mr. P were arriving to my house. I told them, "I'll take it from here," and closed the door. Jane was still on the bed covering herself. She was trembling. I told her, "I have never hurt you, nor will I. Get dressed. I'll wait for you in the living room." While I was waiting, I sent the video to my lawyer and he answered, "I'm sorry for you, but jackpot." A few minutes later, Jane showed up. She couldn't look me in the eyes. I started recording the conversation. I asked why. She didn't answer. "Was I such an awful husband to you?" She started crying but didn't answer. "Do you love him?" She shook her head, but no words. I stood up and hit the table. "Say something, Jane. Damn it." She opened her eyes wide and started trembling again like a scared puppy. I have never yelled at her before. I sat and talked calmly. "My lawyer will contact you for the divorce. Get a lawyer." She finally spoke.
We can fix this.
"Fix what? Our marriage was over since Baldy was in the picture, and you choose him over me." She said,
It was a mistake.
I told her, "No, it wasn't. It was a choice you chose, and this is the consequence. What did you think would happen when I find out?" Silence again. "Go to your sisters and tell her the truth, or I will show what I walked into." She went to the bedroom and started packing. I followed her and watched. Since 2 days ago, I was trying to convince myself my wife is long gone. The person who I shared my house with is not my wife. But seeing her, putting her clothes inside the suitcase neatly, with her gracious movements and those little things I love of her, hit me hard. I went to the spare room and started ugly crying. I heard when she closed the main door. She picked her clothes that were on the sofa. She made the bed where I caught them, and I dropped on the floor. Sometime later, I called my dad. He told me Baldy wanted to press charges, but Mr. P told him he didn't sign in, so he's trespassing. The condo can sue him. He dropped it and went out. My nosy brother pressed his ear on the door, and my dad took him from the other ear to his car. I was exhausted. The previous days I didn't sleep well, so I almost passed out on the spare room. Next morning, my phone had a lot of Jane's messages apologizing and asking for a second chance. I just blocked her. My sister-in-law called me. Apparently Jane hasn't told her what happened, just that we're fighting. All this happened a week ago. Next week, Jane is going to be served. I guess it's good my father-in-law is not alive to see Jane's behavior. She was the youngest and his favorite. Mother-in-law has senile dementia.